Hello, my name is Inez Valencia, and today I will be presenting Dorothea Orum's self-care deficit theory. Let's get started. Dorothea Orum was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1914, received her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing Education, her BSN, at the Catholic University of America in 1939, then received her Master's of Science in Nursing Education, her MSN, at CUA in 1946, and in 1976, Orum was granted an honorary degree of Doctor of Science by Georgetown University. Some of Orum's early nursing experience included being an operating room nurse, private duty nurse, home and hospital, a nurse on a pediatric and adult medical and surgical units, an evening supervisor in the emergency room, and additionally, Orum taught biological sciences as well. One of her many goals was to upgrade the quality of nursing. The self-care deficit theory from 1971 is being taught today in nursing school as well. Key points in this theory: nurses should help patients maintain autonomy. Nurses can assess and intervene in a self-care deficit. Patients are better able to recover when they maintain independence over their own self-care. So with the assessing and intervening, that has to do with the signs and symptoms of the inability of proper hygiene, being able to dress or groom themselves, and that's your patient. So nurses can assess that and help with their activities of daily living, which will help a patient get dressed, be groomed properly, having good hygiene, feeding, and helping with toileting. Now, in this model, we are shown many different factors, and this is going to be going over the self-care deficit theory and how it works. So we can see that there is self-care agency, and this is a complex ability of a patient, and it's whether they know and how they meet their requirements to regulate their own human function and development. Self-care is described as a practice of activities to maintain health, well-being, and quality of life, like eating, breathing, and taking medications. Self-care demands is a duration of time to meet all the required needs of a patient. Again, wellness, health, and quality of life. A nursing agency is a nurse being able to step in and provide care when a self-care deficit is present. So this can be fully applied or partially applied, and this is based on how the patient can regain their independence. Controlling factors are influences that are external and internal. So this can be age, state of health, finances, and culture, as well as the death of a loved one. And the deficit is when a patient cannot meet their own needs, which causes a deficit in their self-care. So these categories play into a major role of self-care deficit theory. This model can show that a demand is going to be greater than an agency. So ultimately, the demand can outweigh an agency, and this is where a deficit can occur. So because a patient cannot take care of themselves anymore, this is when the nursing agency steps in to help this patient regain independence as quickly and smoothly if possible. And this is all dependent on the controlling factors of this patient, so their internal and external influences as well. And now the benefits to this theory. The self-deficit theory allows for more personalized care for patients and how their specific needs can be met on the road to regaining independence again. Secondly, this motivates the patients to regain independence by participating in their own self-care. And lastly, this ensures a legitimate nurse-patient relationship, which can be easily established. And this is due to the types of conditions. So an example of this would be how nurses are really needed and how this isn't really based off of medical demand. And it's mostly through frequent interactions with the patient and addressing their health needs. And now for some limitations. So this theory is heavily focused on the physical aspects of a patient's well-being, not so much the spiritual, emotional, or social aspects. Some physical aspects would be those activities of daily living, as mentioned before. And secondly, the setting in which care is taken place at. So this would be fast-paced environments like a hospital. There are some setbacks in the process of self-care deficit. There's not as much personalized patient care, and specific needs are not being met for those patients. Whereas a rehabilitation center, we can see where self-care deficit theory is going to run its course in personalized care as well as specific needs being met for these patients. And the application of the self-care deficit theory, so nurses who support a patient during a specific illness or surgery that requires care due to their health state. In the quote it says, provide direct care to persons who have legitimate needs for different forms of direct care because of their health state. Going back to this example, it's seen all throughout nursing environments where we're going to prioritize patient health. Rehabilitation would be an example from previous slides. And also in the model, we can see that there's going to be high demands and high priority being taken place because patients are going to be more dependent on nurses who are going to be able to support the patient and care for them and their needs. And finally, how theory relates to my personal view of nursing practice. The 2 points that I have is here to emphasize the importance in patient independence and specialized care. The first point is why patient independence plays a large role in recovery of a patient. I do agree that patient independence can definitely help and aid the recovery of a patient and how swiftly and easily it can be done, but we do have to keep in mind that this is very dependent on the state of health of the patient and what type of support they're going to be seeking from a nurse as well. And the specialized care of a patient is very important as well, and this has to deal with the different illnesses and background health related issues I had mentioned in previous slides. It's very important to take into consideration what type of care that we'll be providing that patient and how these needs of a patient should be met while we are providing that specialized care. And finally, the reference page. Thank you so much for listening.